Welcome back, Helldivers. The new mech is here in Helldivers 2, and when I first started using it, I had an encounter with a Bile Titan, and I thought, holy, this is absolute trash. However, I persisted and I used it for another 5 hours or so, and by the end of it, I actually had a pretty good time using the new mech. I have a pretty comprehensive list of the positives and negatives, and then I thought, you know what, I'll just check out Reddit, see what everyone else thinks. Holy. It is getting absolutely flamed. So today I'm hoping to give you a pretty balanced opinion on the new mech in Helldivers, the Exo suit. Overall, if you want the quick and nasty version of this, I don't think it's going to be viable for Helldiver difficulties, especially once they get rid of the free stratagem that you get. Right now you get a free stratagem and the one you have to unlock. And so you can spam them a bit more than you would be able to, and you can push you through some of those higher difficulties. We were able to get through Helldiver difficulties with the mech. We were all using it. Some of that footage will be in the background, and some of it will be just test footage. But once they get rid of that free stratagem, I don't think you're going to see it at the higher levels as much. However, I did have fun with it. So let's just start with some of those easy negative things that apply to all the exosuits. You can't use stratagems whilst in the suit. You can't use airstrikes or reinforcements, so you don't have access to stratagems in general. You obviously have a very slow movement speed. With this new mech suit, I can't remember what it's like on the old one, but you can't shoot down at your feet. This is actually a huge issue if you're on a hill, and it makes it really, really difficult to actually aim down. You can't aim down. There's a certain limit to how far the guns go down, and you can't do more than that. So anything underneath you need to squash by using your melee. It has a very long cooldown, like the original mech. I believe it's 10 minutes, and you only get 2 uses of it. So huge cooldown between uses as well. And of course, like the first mech, you cannot reload. Once you've expended your ammo, there's no getting it back, which means it's done and dusted, and it's wasted. So there's some easy complaints off the cuff. I do want to talk about some of my positives with it before I get to the main complaint. So here are my positives. It is super resilient to light arm fire. I did not have the same feeling as the first mech. When the first mech came out, I felt like paper mache and I just died instantly. When this mech came out, I actually felt pretty resilient against the bots. When it comes to just like machine gun fire or light arms fire, you can just stand in front of a lot of those bullets and just tank it. I actually thought I was immune for a little bit, and it's not the case. You actually do eventually die, but you can be in front of a whole bunch of heavy devastators and just walk it off, which is very nice. Of course, rockets are still your main enemy, or the turrets, the cannon turrets. Any of those like long range beams will still mess you up, and rocket devastators are always your priority. But all the small, like medium enemies that are just shooting lasers, you can just walk them off quite easily. Melee still does destroy you though too, so you got to be careful of enemies getting right underneath you. Cool. It also has another weird, I don't know if this is the bug, but anyone who's used Ballistic Shield would have spotted it as well. When you go against factory striders and you're behind a Ballistic Shield, the two turrets at the front don't really target you, and the same thing happens with the mechs. It's like it can't see you, or it doesn't target you for whatever reason. So it does make approaching factory striders a little bit easier, because they just don't target you, which is pretty nice. It is absolutely pathetic for shooting charges in the face, which doesn't sound like a positive, but what I'm here to say is it's actually not bad on the front legs of charges. It's not the best, but it's also not the worst. Is it the worst? Maybe it is the worst. It's not the best. It's okay. You definitely can take down charges. I actually don't think I was killed by a charger once throughout my playtime with it. It was pathetic on the head, but okay on the front legs. Similarly with Hulks, I believe it was about 8 shots to the front faceplate. Bit hard to tell if you hit them or not because of the aiming. Once again, not the best option, but I was able to actually cope with a lot of Hulks and a lot of charges just spamming the autocannons. It's also pretty reasonable at taking out gunships. Once again, not the best. Maybe this should just be called like average. It's okay, it's average. That's what my wife tells me. It does also seem to be able to tolerate a lot of Hulk fire damage. I tried to test this by shooting off the arms of the Hulks and then just standing in front of like fire damage. I definitely wasn't one-tapped by it and walked it off a fair few times, and I did some defense missions and it seemed pretty resilient to it as well. But I'll need to, I don't know, find a Hulk, isolate a Hulk and stand in front of it for a bit longer to see how much you can actually tank. It can close bug holes, it can destroy factories. Overall, it had a fair bit of utility and I didn't feel like paper mache, and so I ended up having a pretty good time with it. Compared to when the first mech came out and I was like, I am never using this again. I can imagine myself using this for fun and for memes. Okay, the main complaint. So why is everyone taking a massive dump on this stratagem? It has something to do with durable damage. Now, this is a concept that I only recently discovered and learnt about, and I will link videos down below if you want to hear about durable damage in a bit more detail. But this is all you really need to know when it comes to the autocannon mech. And I've taken this from Reddit. So the normal autocannon does 260 normal damage and 260 durable damage. The autocannon sentry does 300 normal damage and 300 durable damage. And the ace, the autocannon mech, this one we're talking about, the new one, does 300 normal damage and 60 durable damage. So what is durable damage, you ask? It is a value that the enemy has, and if an enemy has 100% durability or 100% durable value, you take 100% of this value to apply damage. So you completely ignore the normal damage and you only apply the durable damage. So it does 0% of 300 and it does 100% of 60. So that means the AC mech only does 60 damage to enemies that will have a 100% durable value. The AC sentry does 300 and the autocannon does 260. So what does that look like in function? Well, Bile Titans have 100% durability, or their durable value is 100%. So that means you only do 60 damage, and actually it's less than that because this has an armor penetration of 5, and a Bile Titan's head has an armor penetration, has an armor value of 5. And if the armor pen and the armor value match, you only do 50% damage. So that means you only do 30 damage against Bile Titans, which is why when I was using it against Bile Titans, it felt awful. Technically, it should only take you 25 bullets to take down a Bile Titan. In reality, I must miss some shots because it took me like 46. So are there other enemies with 100% durability that I felt that this was really trash against? There is. Drop ships, this is incredibly weak against. They have 100% durability, and this was awful against. Tanks should have been an issue, like on paper, tanks should be an issue. However, I found them to be a bit of a non-issue. The machine gun tanks, shoot the turret, they went down pretty quickly. And the Annihilator tanks, they are more tricky because you have to get in the right position. But if you can get to the side or behind, you can actually take them down incredibly quickly as well. For me, the main issue was really Bile Titans. Everything else I felt like I could deal with. The weapon was okay, it wasn't the best, but I could deal with charges, I could deal with hulks, I could deal with gunships, I could resist light arm fire, I could deal with factories, I could close bug holes. Like, it did all of those things. Like I said at the beginning though, will it be good enough to take on a Helldivers difficulty? I don't think so, because of how many rocket devastators there are and just eventually running out of ammo and having such a long cooldown. Some of those basic negatives for using mechs are just too restrictive for a Helldivers difficulty, really. But at the same time, people are absolutely raging, and I would be ashamed if you didn't try this and you just listened to all the rage, because I did have fun with it, and I think you will have fun with it on lower levels, and I think it's worth trying out right now while there is a free stratagem, so you can spam it, and try to enjoy the game a little bit. Overall, I think it would be in a much better spot if they address the cooldown. I think you should just be able to call down 2 mechs whenever you want, like no cooldown, make it like an Eagle stratagem, or like 10 seconds, make it like an Eagle stratagem. You just be able to call it down one after another, essentially. And I mean, I think it would be incredibly powerful if you could resupply it. If they added some sort of resupply mechanic and you could resupply it, I think it'd be really good as well. I think if they address some of those issues, this would be in a much better spot. There you go. Hopefully that is a balanced opinion on the new mech in Helldivers 2. If you enjoyed the video and you cannot think of a comment, you can leave the word durable damage, because that's what this comes down to. As usual, it's been a pleasure. This is Myelin Games. Peace.